Tell me which way to go from here.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited today. I'm here with Tad Worku. He's one of our amazing nurses in the emergency room. My understanding is a lot of the songs that you've written are inspired by either experiences in the hospital or with patients or other providers that have inspired you in some shape or another.
Absolutely. And some of the, I had a patient, she was 83 years old, terminal cancer. And she said she had a few weeks left maybe to live. And she came into the ER for pain control. And I had this long conversation with her and asked her, what season of life would you live over again if you could? And her answer was this one. And that kind of blew me away. Like, you'd live the season over again that you're dying from cancer.
Okay.
And she just had peace. She had her faith intact. She was surrounded by her family, and she had lived this like meaningful life. And so those kind of things impact you. And so as you kind of step out of that environment, there's a lot as someone like in a different phase of life where you feel like you're just starting out. It means it's pretty powerful to hear someone closer to the end of their life kind of shine light on that was her. I thought she would say something like her 30s or 40s. So just to hear that perspective from someone in their 80s, it gets you thinking. And then if you think, it gets you writing.
Which song did that one inspire?
That's actually 33.
33.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. That's on Spotify.
Spotify. Yeah. But like, what age did you start this?
Yeah, music.
Yeah.
So somewhere in high school, like 16, 17, I had sang in choir, but I sang, I think, for the first time around 16, 17, and something just clicked that was like, man, I think this would be pretty cool to do. And then in college, I started just writing songs, still really, really rough and a lot to learn, but I started writing songs, and I think that's where the seed was planted. Like, hey, I think I want to do this. And then after graduation is when I kind of stepped into it more fully.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Can you tell our audience what instruments you play, and like, did you always play these instruments all your life, or?
Yeah, for sure. I started with trumpet. Trumpet was like my first love in second grade, I think, is when I started. And then piano. I picked up that one next, just kind of like every parent puts their kid in piano lessons.
Yes, for sure.
So I did that. I quit for a few years and then picked it up again. And then guitar was kind of the last instrument I picked up.
That's amazing. And for the future aspiring musicians out there, it seems like you've gone through different instruments until you kind of found your niche or what you like. What's some advice would you give them out there?
Yeah, first of all, I'd say if there's an instrument you love, start with that one, because that'll encourage you to actually play it. Piano is a good instrument because it kind of gives you a good base for the rest of them. But if there's an instrument you love, start with that one and then branch out from there.
That's awesome. And I mean, hey, we commonly hear this over and over and over again. Is there a career in music, Tad?
Is there a career in music?
Yeah.
So yes, but you have to be kind of creative in how you map it out. And I think the biggest thing in music is having a purpose for your stage. I think a lot of times people go into music to do music. Like, they just want to be, like, for me personally, you just want to be like a famous musician. But you don't necessarily have a purpose for the stage. So I'd say for me, like, when answering that question, if you have a strong purpose for the stage, it becomes more than music. And there's room for that. There's room for music to kind of serve as a key to a bigger picture.
That's beautiful. And what was your purpose?
Starting off, I don't think I had, I don't think I hadn't found it starting off. And I think that's one of the reasons I stepped away from it. But I honestly, like, when I went back into nursing school, I didn't necessarily think that I would do music and healthcare. I just kind of stepped away from music and I was prepared to just get into healthcare. But the purpose for music kind of became processing through the experiences of healthcare. So the purpose of music became to kind of translate or take those stories from inside of the hospital and as someone in healthcare, you understand that like those are personal, intimate stories, like between, you know, with patient care, with colleagues, all of those kind of, there's special experiences in a hospital. And so my purpose kind of became telling those stories through music outside of a hospital.
I just wanted to share my screen right here, show you your website. This is your website right here.
Yeah, it is.
It's really exciting. So for this, people would be getting emails about some of the new releases you have. Is that right?
Yeah. So
okay.
We actually just released my debut album called Love Is All, and that came out on January 24th. So I was actually scheduled to tour right before COVID. Yeah. So, and I, you know, I'm at peace with it, because I think ultimately the whole purpose of it is to contribute, or how it can be a blessing. And so it definitely was an adjustment, but I think there's opportunities to use both, you know, especially with healthcare at the front of the conversation, to use healthcare and music in this season. So,
and I think the exciting thing is we can still do the tour. We can do it
exactly,
online.
exactly.
We just gotta get, you know, a group of people and advertise it and go from there. That's the one thing that's positive out of this Corona thing, is we're learning how to do things differently. That's all.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I do think there's, other than there's obviously there's a lot of negatives with the situation, but I do think there's blessings in kind of how the pace is slowed down and a lot of those things. I think being a healthcare provider, the effect on life is always tragic. But I do think there are blessings in disguise through the whole thing. We actually did an online concert last week,
No way.
So that was pretty cool.
On Zoom?
Yeah, on Zoom.
That's amazing. Yeah, you gotta let me know next time. I'm gonna tell everybody about it.
Yeah, will do.
For sure. What's your favorite song of the ones that you've written?
That's like saying like favorite kid. I don't have kids, but I feel like it's the same thing. I think they all have different, they all represent like different seasons and different stories. So I think like if you think about each one of them, they have a significant piece to them. But it's easy to say like the last song you wrote is your favorite, just because it's the one you've played the most or the one that is on your mind. But that'd be a difficult one. I don't know if I have a favorite. It's a revolving favorite.
That's amazing. And how about a song that it was kind of difficult to write? It took some time rewriting over and over. For some reason, it just wasn't sitting for some reason, and it took some time to write.
Yeah, no. There was like Love Is All, the title track for the the first one.
No, I was gonna pick a favorite since you wouldn't pick, and that one is my favorite.
Yes.
Love Is All. I listened to all your album, and
yes, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But Love Is All was a tough one because it was the first song I wrote after kind of I actually wrote it like 8 years ago. But it was the first song I wrote after stepping away from music completely, from pop soul. And so I think how it came together, it was just a significant time to where if I was kind of saying, if I could write one song to kind of show like what I could say in music, or to be a foundational song in music, what would I want to say? And so that was where that song came from.
That's amazing. That song has 36,000, but the one it's most popular is Keep Walking. 222,000 listeners for that song.
Yeah, crazy.
What's up with that song?
Crazy. Yeah, I know. I actually
Keep Walking.
So that song is kind of like I actually released it before I released the album, but the idea of that one was I kind of like journeyed through this whole thing, and music was now coming back together, and it was kind of like this trade for choosing to like walk in faith, right? Mm-hmm. Like not walking by what you can see, but walking by like faith. So I think the first verse, tell me which way to go from here, because I'm done running from all my fear. Tell me which way to turn to find, because I just left all the world behind for the water that you never thirst, to even quench the worst, believe me, and that hunger in your soul. I forgot the next line. The hunger in your soul, believe me, so I can keep walking. So you keep walking towards that, like the thing that actually feeds what you're looking for.
It's perfect for now theme.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's the crazy piece is I wrote all these songs in kind of as my personal reaction to what was happening in my life while working in the ER for 5 years. And now as I kind of step back and look at the climate of everything, it's like everybody has gone into the environment of an emergency department.
Yes.
Right? Like the uncertainty, the like death confronting people outside of where it's usually supposed to be. And I think like the recognition is like a lot of these songs like speak to exactly where we are right now, because it's like the world was thrown into an emergency kind of situation. So it is interesting. And I think personally, working in an emergency department, you've kind of grappled through a lot of those emotions through the cases, because that's where people have been coming, in tragic situations, in life and death moments, in a lot of these things. And I think even for healthcare providers, this whole season has accentuated everything, but we've kind of experienced those emotions. And so I think the songs kind of speak to especially to this season.
Definitely. And I think this is a good time to plug in to say thanks to everybody that has contributed to helping in this. All the healthcare providers, from physicians, nurses, the people that clean. Right?
Yeah, it's huge.
Huge. They've been ISO clean, which is isolation. Whenever we suspect someone that might have any kind of sort of disease that might be contagious, we have to close that room down for people and for someone to come clean it. Thank you for doing that, and because it's scary. It's a scary thing. I want to also thank our police officers, or the ambulances, and everybody, all the first responders, our military, and our country, and the leadership. Yeah. It's been tough on the leadership. Sometimes we criticize some of our leaders and whatever it is, but it's tough. It's just been really hard on everybody. But I think I just want to go back to the point that you bring that's really important, is that we in healthcare are used to this. In terms of the chaos, it's somewhat in the ER, I like to call it the organized chaos.
Yeah.
We remain calm, collected, and we're ready for the next thing. And in fact, our training in the emergency room is revolving around being trained for disaster.
Yeah.
Things that might happen, and this is one of them. So it's really beautiful to see our emergency room have gotten together as a team to be able to battle this.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And I think one of the differences that I've seen in this season is in the controlled chaos of an emergency department, it usually is happening to like one group of people and the other group of people rally around. And I think the importance of this season is kind of, it's interesting because I've always kind of said, hey, there's this connection point between the messages in the music and to healthcare. And I think what's important now is supporting each other, because there's this overall thing that everybody's experiencing. It's almost everybody experiencing the same critical patient at the same time.
Exactly.
And so I think that the difference is there's this like cloud over in the back of everyone's head that's like we're all dealing with the same critical patient at the same time. Yes. And I think it's important when we do go through those critical situations and it's not like that, there's always somebody else on the team that's kind of coming up and being like, hey, we got you.
Yes.
or supporting through that, because not everyone experienced that. And I think so in this season, I think it's most important that I think one of the things like frontline providers need is the encouragement, the support, the hope, collectively, not, because everyone's kind of, it's a shared emotion.
Definitely. Most definitely. And I think that kind of takes me to the next point of remaining positive in this situation, right?
Yeah.
It's so easily to be drawn into the negativity of what's happening around us. Obviously, the coronavirus is a negative thing. Obviously, we're losing lives and people, are not doing well. But how can we still remain calm, collected while we get through this? And honestly, when I think of Tad, the first thing that comes to mind is a man that's very calm, collected, and smiles. I know in the emergency room, if as the doctor, I'm walking in and I call Tad, that things are going to get done in a way that's organized, in a way that is very peaceful. It's almost like music.
Yeah.
It's almost like music, like an orchestra, right? And how to figure out how things work as a team. If one of the members of the team is not working well, that can, turn everything down.
Yeah. And I think one of the things, like, even personally, like, there's people think a level 1 trauma center, and there is an there's organization to the chaos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things that the uncertainty of COVID, or who's exposed to it, or who it impacts, I think even personally, you have to deal with the uncertainty personally,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of go through that process to come back to a place of peace. Because I think fear is a natural emotion walking into that place, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
for me personally, like my last shift, someone was like, man, you're really like peaceful about this thing. But I would, my personal confession is, like, you go through the emotions yourself, but end up at peace.
Yes.
So you process through it, and you end up at peace. But you have to spend the time to actually process through all the rest of it too.
Yeah, definitely. And music is one of the things.
Yeah,
people.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, can you tell our audience where can they find you, and how can they listen to your music, and possibly if you did prepare a song for us that we can listen to?
No, for sure.
It'd be really sweet.
Yeah. So the album is available on Spotify, Apple Music, and iTunes, and you can find it at it's Love Is All is the title of it, and it's under my name, so TAD, first name, last name is WORKU. So you can find it there. You can I have a lot of, like, there's a mini documentary on Instagram. There's stuff on YouTube, and it's just at Tad Worku as well. And so, yeah, and if you join the mailing list, we'll get you stuff out as well there. And I'm going to try to put out a lot more content during this period too. So
excellent. Thank you so much for doing that. Again, I want to just tell the audience, it's Tad, TAD, work like you're working you. So the literal you. So Tad Worku. If you look him up just on Google, you'll be able to find his content. Really, really great content. I was feeling at peace when I was listening to all his album yesterday to kind of get a feel for his music. And it's really great stuff.
I appreciate it.
I'm really, really happy that we've got this chance to do this today. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for putting it together.
Tell me which way to go from here, 'cause I'm done running from all my fear. Tell me which way to turn to find, 'cause I just left all of this world behind. For that water never thirsts to even quench the worst, believe me. And all that hunger in my soul, no menu that I know could feed me. Tell me that it will be alright, 'cause I just traded, got some faith for sight. Oh, I got some faith for sight, so I can keep walking. I will keep walking, oh, until I find my way home. You know I'll keep walking, I will keep walking, oh, until I find my way home. Tell me that you will lead my ways, even when my feet get in your way. Tell me, 'cause there's no turning back. what's behind, I watched it fade to black. For that water never thirsts to even quench the worst, believe me. And all that hunger in my soul, no menu that I know could feed me. Tell me that it will be alright, 'cause I just traded, got some faith for sight. Oh, I got some faith for sight, so I